We're here, we're live, we're on the expo floor in Vegas at AWS reInvent 2024. Thank you for being here with us, everyone who's streaming in from Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're happy you're here. Thank you. Welcome back. My name is Fiona McCann. I am a solutions architect at AWS. I'm in the public sector. I work with nonprofits, and I specialize in responsible AI. I think we're going to be talking about something interesting today. Before we get to the topic of our conversation, I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, Art. Art, how are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm always excited this time of year, Fiona.
Yeah? Why's that?
Lots of launches, unique things, opportunities to talk to really, really smart people like
Very
these
true.
that we have here.
That's true.
And talk about some of the latest features that our customers get to benefit from.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty excited. And I have a personal, connection to this area.
Do you?
So
Okay.
I'm excited.
I have to say, this is also my first segment I've ever been handed merch. I have a chip bag here that we'll get to in a little bit once we explain what we're talking about today. So shall we hand it over to our guest? Oh, you didn't really introduce yourself yet. Why do you have a connection to this segment?
I'm Art Baudo. I'm a principal product marketing manager here at AWS, and I handle EC2. And maybe we should introduce our guests here, Rosa and Reggie.
Sure. I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah.
So I'm a FinOps commercial architect. My name is Rosa Corley, And yes, I work at AWS. And I'm excited to be here. It's actually a huge blessing to be here too. So I'm going to pass this on to my colleague.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Rajni Guptan and I'm a Senior Technical Account Manager at AWS. And Rosa and I have built this Graviton Savings Dashboard together with our GSD team. Really happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
No, we are really happy to have you. And so I think we've used the first word here already, Fiona.
Chip? Graviton.
Graviton.
Bag.
We have a Graviton chip bag. So maybe the first thing we should do is talk a little bit about what Graviton is in the first place. So do one of us want to define, Rosa, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So Graviton is a customized processor designed by AWS. It's primarily focused for general purpose workloads as well as specialized workloads. And it's actually a cloud, a chip that was created based off of cloud needs. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it was designed by AWS.
Yeah.
And so we actually have on stage with us some props here. These are 3 generations of our Graviton chip. And so the Graviton, we have actually, we're in our 4th generation of Graviton instances here. And Graviton are some of the most price performance instances at AWS for those doing compute. And they're really, speaking of price, even though we've talked a lot to customers about how well the price is, I think one of the reasons that you guys started this is a recognition that there's even more savings that are out there for customers, and we wanted to help them.
Yep.
So maybe tell us what the Graviton Savings Dashboard is.
Yeah, Rosie, you want to take that?
Sure. So the Graviton Savings Dashboard is basically a tool that we created that will help break down what your current Graviton usage is and then see those insights. And then if you go down further, you'll have the opportunities. So we know that we've seen a lot of different customers that run into issues of like, how do I quantify that? How do I see what is my true cost of like moving over to Graviton? And we've actually made it a lot easier because we know there are several different tools out there, and we just wanted one single pane where we can look at across several different accounts and all have it in one single pane view and be able to break it down by linked account, by different payers accounts, as well as, we can even customize it down to a tag resource level if we have to.
Yeah, so one analogy we've heard is like, it's like navigating a maze, right? We don't know what what's the current landscape look like. People feel confused and they have to do that cost computation by themselves. So Graviton Savings Dashboard is essentially like a tool that can help you navigate that maze of Graviton adoption.
Got it. Okay, so if I'm understanding this right, we have EC2 at large, and EC2 is those rentable servers that are running in the cloud. But within EC2, we have tons and tons of instance types. Maybe Art, do you know the exact number of instance types?
We have more than 850.
More than 850 instance types. Within those 850 are a set of Graviton-specific instance types.
That's right.
How many?
I believe currently
He's on the
More than
spot now.
200.
More than 200 maybe.
I think. Yeah.
Graviton instance types, and customers can really benefit from switching to those Graviton instance types.
Yeah,
Yes.
Graviton uses uses ARM-based architecture,
Okay.
and it allows a simple path for people to migrate over to do some cost savings. We have a lot of customers. I've been at AWS a little over 4 years now, and the tools and techniques that we have offered to people to be able to make that migration have improved year over year over year. And one of the work that the team here has done in creating this dashboard, the GSD, is actually helping to further give people information. And I think that's one of the benefits of what we get to do at AWS is we give a lot of this information to customers to help them and aid them in making a simple choice. So
we've got a lot of people that are listening here in the audience. Have you ever thought about switching to Graviton? Has there ever been a barrier that's, maybe you've wanted some more information that could potentially be on a dashboard that would help clear things up for you? What are we going to be able to see on this dashboard?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I think we should show the dashboard.
Let's do that. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, I can walk everyone through a demo of the dashboard here. So what you have on screen, what you're seeing is how
Maybe I first interrupt. How do people access the dashboard in the first place? So it looks like we're in the console, but how do we go about accessing the dashboard and to find it for everybody?
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. So this is a self-service tool that the customers would have to deploy in their environment. So we have that information documented in a well-architected lab that we can share the link here in the chat in a few minutes. And then that gives like the detailed steps of how you could deploy the dashboard, the prerequisites that you have to have in place. And once you have it deployed and ready to use, this is how it will look like.
Yeah, and as you can tell, it's running on QuickSight, so it's a really awesome tool to use. So if in case you do want to customize, that is something that you can go in and do that as well.
Awesome. So sorry.
No, I think we're going to do the same thing. You cover it.
I was going to say, we've got a lot of people who are joining us, chatting in, and there's one specific question that we've got. Does Graviton Savings Dashboard integrate with compute savings plan recommendations?
That's a great question.
So it does take into account the compute savings plans that you have in place. It's not going to give you compute savings plan recommendations as such, but it does take in the fact that if you have compute savings plans for a particular EC2 instance that you're using in your environment, then the corresponding savings plan Graviton savings that you can achieve is what the dashboard will show you. So
it reflects what the compute savings. It's just it's not taking all of that into account.
It's not a tool that would give you recommendations on compute savings plans, but it's more on the Graviton side.
Okay, so if you're going to see it in the compute savings plan, you will also, it's part of our calculation here.
Yes.
So all right,
Makes
I'm
sense.
excited to see the demo.
Okay, so once you have the dashboard deployed, this is how it's going to look like. And we have different tabs here. I can just focus in on them. You see, we have broken it down by different services. So we have EC2, RDS, Elasticache, and OpenSearch at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the controls here on the top will really help you focus in on where you want to strategize your adoption. So if you want to look at, I think this is a good time where I can mention that the dashboard is highly scalable. So it can take into account the different payers that you have, different linked accounts, regions, instance families. So I can just show here, we can narrow down and focus on those different attributes.
I don't know about you, Fiona, but I love options for people because I like customization.
Always.
This is my whole life. I like that. But the second thing is I know that, for people that are out there, there are differences between costs in certain regions and things like that as well. So, if you are working and you have multiple regions, which I highly recommend as an overall strategy, but if you're trying to look at that and see differences, maybe you want to have a breakdown by region or just, I see you have US East and US West here, taking a look at that. So I like this idea that this can be customized and also kind of do an all up, like everything view as well.
Can you break it down by workload or by, what do you mean here by linked account?
So within a pay a management account in AWS, you can have different sub accounts, right? You have
Okay.
different linked accounts. So these are your different AWS accounts.
I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
we can separate them.
Yeah, and then I think Art, you had a very good point here where you were talking about price differs for instance types based on different regions. So that is another computation that customers would have to do manually, which now we have taken out of the equation. So this dashboard actually gives you the exact pricing for that region and the exact savings that you can get. So.
And see that I inadvertently teed you up for it. But
I just like to have just like everything all in one screen, especially since you're having multiple payers. You're trying to see where.
you don't like
where
to
we all
have
stand.
75 tabs open, Rosa?
No, I do not.
Yeah, so
Trust me, try to quantify all of that and see where I'm at.
It sounds like our audience is also liking this fact that we have this customization. It's we have a comment here from Robert Tables. Linked accounts. This is great for a FinOps department to see this across all accounts and regions in an org. So they're resonating with you, aren't they?
Yes.
They're also liking this customization.
Well, just wait till you see some more because it gets even better.
Yeah.
All right,
Can't
let's go.
wait.
Let's go.
So yeah, in every tab. So I'm just going to focus on the EC2 tab here today.
Yeah.
So here, each tab has two sections. So you have the current usage and savings section here on the top. So that's here. And then if you scroll towards the middle,
Yes.
you can see the Graviton opportunity section. Okay.
Okay.
So let me go back. The current usage and savings section is essentially like a snapshot of your current Graviton adoption.
Okay.
So how much you have already saved on just by being, you have existing instance on Graviton, how much you have already saved and how much you have covered. So,
Got it.
I mean, here you can clearly see, right? We only have a 26.8% coverage, but you have already saved 20K, more than 20K the previous month. So that's significant.
Yeah, especially when I see the processor type spend here
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so this really helps you break down and identify where Graviton stands today in comparison with other processor types in the environment. So you can see that 23% coverage as opposed to what your other processor types spend and usage looks like. And okay, so this is one of my favorite parts. This allows you to this section here breaks this down by top account level insights. So you can quickly see which teams are already leading in that Graviton adoption. So maybe you can reach out to them, ask them, can you showcase your success to the rest of the organization to motivate other teams to kind of see
Or
the
I think
benefits.
to Robertable's, a question before about managing it. If you are managing the, because lots of accounts, you can now see, wait a minute, which ones of these accounts potentially are not showing up there that I need to have a conversation with.
Exactly,
How do
yeah.
I incentivize them?
Right?
Yeah,
What
and-
can I do to push
right.
them forward?
How do we get
here?
them to do it?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's that section here. So that bottom level insights here, it actually shows you teams that might maybe need some more support. You want to understand
go.
what's going on. So
It's like I saw it once before. See that? Strange.
So, okay, so moving on, we have this current coverage section. This can really help you, focus in on how your usage is evolving over time. It can help you track your progress month over month. And so we talked about FinOps teams earlier. This realized Graviton savings section, this is really powerful for FinOps teams to kind of understand that financial impact of their Graviton adoption at the moment. So it's actually comparing your current Graviton spend with what it would look like had you not been on Graviton
Yeah.
and the savings.
wow.
there.
And I know from my perspective and my experience being in FinOps, like I'm always asked, like, how much am I saving every month? And like here we now have it broken down by month, showing you what your realized savings were each month, which is awesome because normally it's like, okay, let's go ahead and quantify it. Let's do like cost and usage report. Let's try to do that. And now we actually can see what that differentiation is and then also be able to compare it to what that current Graviton usage would have been.
Yeah, and this creates for those of us who have to do reports back to
Yes.
managers and other
Yes.
people like that, this is
Done for
So
you.
we're saving you money.
Saving time.
saving me time, right?
We're
Fiona?
improving our performance and saving you money. So that's a good thing.
This is great. And I think that these charts are also, you can monitor them over time as well. So are they limited to a month or can you change the duration?
How
in here?
customizable
How
is it?
customizable?
Yeah. So the date range is 6 months for most of the visual that show like a month over month.
Okay.
And then the other like KPIs and the pie charts are the previous month. So
Okay.
that part of it is not
Okay.
customizable at the moment, but I think it's still giving you that holistic
Oh, I think it's
picture.
giving
Yeah.
a really big, a really great holistic view. Okay, let's keep on going here.
So we have the radio buttons here. This really helps to keep. I mean, let me just show you how that works. So when I toggle
Okay.
between them, you see that visuals below. It's getting updated
Right.
to show the savings that we have achieved month over month. What does the spend look like month over month, and then the usage, how it evolves month over month.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the charts here also allow you to drill down into the actual instance family. So this really opens up some high level, really granular insights, right? Like I can see that here, for example, the M6G8X large here,
Yep.
which I'm seeing here, it's giving me significant savings.
Okay, in
So-
Virginia, and how do we quantify this? Like, how do we know what we're seeing is actually valid?
Yeah.
Good question.
Oh,
No,
wow.
you're doing
Yeah,
our job
wow.
for us.
Yeah, what-
I'm just asking because
We're gonna.
I feel challenged.
Is it Fiona and I need to leave? Like,
Yeah. I feel challenged. Rosa's challenging me. I have to answer that question. So, yeah. So, yeah, that information is actually broken down in this great detail in this table here, which actually shows you, like, for example, here I'm able to narrow down and see, okay, in account A in the previous month, just by being on the M6G8X large, I have saved more than 7K. And that's a 20% savings as compared to the M5 8X large, which we are comparing against. So what is our existing instance type? What am I comparing against? What is the exact dollar amount I've saved and what's that savings percentage? So
How
all
is
of
it-
that.
How is it choosing which Graviton instance to compare?
So we have a mapping
question.
table that's there behind the Graviton Savings Dashboard that we keep updated, and we are essentially choosing a comparable Graviton instance to your existing non-Graviton instance, and
Okay.
vice versa. So that's
That
what
makes
we're doing.
sense. So
Yeah.
most instance types would have a somewhat similar equivalent
Right.
to
Yes.
Graviton.
yeah, across the board. I mean, this is for most of the and I think for people out there, this is their first time with some of the instances. I just might note, if you look at the lettering here of our instance types, that third letter there that is a G, that's how you know it's a Graviton instance. So kind of look for that G. The instances that have the I are x86 or Intel-based instances, and then we don't have here, but there's some instances that have an A. So that's also on the x86 side. Those are the AMD-based instances as well. But back to our kind of Graviton
This is our
schedule
fun
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, go on.
So like I mentioned, there are two sections in each tab, and the first section that we talked about, it gave that complete comprehensive view of the current Graviton landscape that you have. Now comes the opportunity section. So this is the exciting part. This is actually showcasing what is your Graviton opportunity if you migrate over to Graviton. So here you can see we are seeing a potential savings of more than 60K in my demo account. I should really move on to Graviton.
Yeah.
What are
Why
you doing?
haven't? Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay, and yeah, we have an additional potential coverage of 73%. Okay, and this savings implementation chart here that you're seeing,
Yeah.
this actually helps to break down the implementation effort. So we can see more than 65% is typically easy. And we see that most customer workloads fall in this category, that typically easy category, because Graviton migration is pretty straightforward. And then we have
May I ask, how did you determine
Yeah.
the green category?
Yeah, so that information is actually broken down in detail here. We have just
Yeah, so we thought about every
my
single way. We thought every single way on how we
This
can break
segment
this
is writing
down.
itself. That's the thing.
Yeah, because I mean, coming back to like, how do we figure things out? Like, how do we know what's the next big thing
Right.
to move to? Like this, having this implementation effort, and then seeing those definitions of like what that does that mean? Like, I can tell my team, hey, can you guys focus on 65% of my typically easy? Because that gives that call to action for your team to go in
That's-
and create and
That's an
run it.
excellent point.
Yeah.
I mean, it really it creates. People need actionable items to be able
Exactly.
to execute. So I think
Yes.
that's an even better way. Yeah. No, this is great.
Yeah, so we have other categorizations here as well, like requires additional planning is essentially reserved instances or EC2 instance savings plans, which you might have a commitment with AWS
Yeah.
for an instance family, right? So you have to plan a little bit more around it. Definitely there is savings, but then you just want to plan around that commitment.
Okay.
So And there are some instance type which we don't have an equivalent like Graviton instance mapped at the moment, and so those fall into that excluded from service calculation.
Makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's scroll down to the big area, the most important part, and I think it would be the table. Just for the sake of time.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
just about to say.
Go.
So much exciting things here, I have to say. But yeah, let's move on to the table here. This is actually giving a direct mapping between what is your current non-Graviton instance and what is the comparable Graviton instance that you can migrate to. So you can see that information here. Also the exact dollar amount in savings that can be achieved and the potential percentage of savings. So
Amazing.
This is amazing, and I just want to thank the two of you for coming on, providing such a
No,
detailed
thank you for
analysis.
having us.
Thank
This
you
was
for
so
having
much
us.
fun.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many things that people can get out of this, and so I highly recommend everyone tries the the Graviton Savings Dashboard. Excuse me, I stumbled on it. And stay tuned for more AWS On Air. We'll be back right after this from reInvent.